Max and Anne, inseparable since childhood, eventually become a couple. Tragedy strikes one night when, after drinking heavily in their car, they get into a fatal crash that takes Anne's life. Convicted of involuntary manslaughter, Max is sent to prison. His background as the son of a wealthy family immediately makes him a target for other inmates. He survives by paying for protection with cash smuggled to him by his grandmother, Victoria, who hides the money in books delivered through bribed guards. However, once his funds dry up, the beatings from other prisoners become a daily occurrence. His situation hits rock bottom one evening when he's tossed into an industrial laundry machine for a terrifying 16 minutes. This harrowing experience serves as a turning point. Realizing things can't get any worse, Max resolves to find a way to thrive, even behind bars. He begins a rigorous training regimen and participates in prison fights, which not only earn him cash, but also the respect of his fellow convicts. 3 years later, Max is granted an early release due to his good behavior. His father, Raphael, picks him up, expressing frustration that Max refused all of his prison visits. As jets scream overhead, Raphael reveals he was the one who arranged for Max's early release. He explains that a massive war is imminent, and their entire family is being relocated to a high-tech bunker reserved for the super rich. Max initially wants nothing to do with his father, but has a change of heart upon learning that Anne's family will also be in the shelter. During the journey, Raphael explains he learned about the top-secret bunker from a colonel. The world's wealthiest families were sent an invitation to a website featuring a video from a woman named Minerva who detailed the project. Millions of euros were poured into this underground fortress named Kamar. As they drive, Raphael and Max witness chaos in the streets as people try to flee the city. They reach their helicopter just as a broadcast announces a ban on all private flights, but Raphael bribes the pilot to take off anyway. The bunker itself is located 900 feet beneath a lake, requiring them to descend in an elevator. The facility has 3 platforms containing 45 luxury family suites, all equipped with state-of-the-art technology and security. On arrival, Max and Raphael are instructed to place all personal belongings, including their phones, into a deposit box to prevent GPS tracking. They are issued special radiation-proof suits and a bracelet that tracks their vitals. A receptionist scans their hands as all doors are operated by biometric authentication. Each room is controlled by an AI named Roxanne, which can even change the views on the digital windows. Max soon reunites with his family and finds out that Victoria brought her personal nurse along as she is undergoing chemotherapy. News reports on TV describe escalating global tensions and the threat of imminent attacks. In the dining area, Max encounters Anne's father, Guillermo, and offers a sincere apology for the accident. Guillermo seems to accept it, but Anne's sister, Asia, is visibly hostile. It's revealed their mother passed away 6 months after Anne. Asia blames it on grief, though Guillermo insists it was an accident. He then introduces his new wife, Mimi, and invites Max's family to join them for dinner. The restaurant operates as a buffet, which offends the elitist Victoria. She almost sends her nurse to fetch her food, but Guillermo persuades an employee to serve them by mentioning Victoria's cancer. During the meal, Asia confronts Max about why he fled the scene of the crash, earning scolding from the others for ruining the mood. Just then, Minerva enters and announces that the global situation has deteriorated, with multiple bombings confirmed. She advises everyone to stay occupied to ward off depression. At the gym, Max approaches Asia and gives her Anne's old phone, believing she should have her sister's final memories. A touched Asia rushes to her room to watch old videos. Meanwhile, at the bar, a heavily intoxicated Guillermo is cut off by the bartender, Tio. The situation grows tense until Raphael intervenes, ordering 2 whiskeys for himself and sharing one with Guillermo. Suddenly, the entire bunker violently shakes. Lights flicker and bulbs shatter as a massive rock smashes through the bar wall. The panicked residents flee towards the central dome, but Asia turns back to find her father. She discovers Max helping both Guillermo and Raphael out of the bar. The main corridor is sealed, so Tio leads them to a service elevator. Moments later, the elevator cable snaps and it plummets, only to be stopped by the emergency brakes. The family escapes through a tunnel into the dome where everyone is watching the news. It appears World War III has begun. Minerva informs them that a nuclear bomb detonated just miles away, causing the tremors. The camera feed from the entrance shows another massive explosion before all screens go dark. Minerva tells everyone to remain calm as she hurries to the control room. While they wait for news, Raphael confesses a dark secret. On the night of the accident, he found Max clinging to Anne's body and told him to run to save himself. However, during the trial, Raphael testified truthfully because he wanted Max to take responsibility, which is what landed him in prison. Max's mother, Freda, is enraged to learn that her husband had a plan to save his son, only to betray him. Victoria chimes in saying Freda should have married better, prompting Freda to expose Victoria as a terrible mother. Freda then admits she never loved Raphael and only married him to escape her own family. Minerva returns, announcing they can't establish contact with the outside world. She is sending 2 staff members, Luca and Cindy, to the surface to check the antenna. The screens show them donning hazmat suits and venturing out into a toxic, ash-filled wasteland. They find a burnt-out car with 2 charred bodies inside. As they work to connect a new antenna, the railing burns through Luca's glove. They rush back inside for decontamination, where a medical team confirms Luca has been exposed to severe radiation. The cameras are cut before Minerva vaguely tells the residents that the situation is complicated. In the control room, however, Minerva and her team celebrate. The entire war is a hoax, a sophisticated simulation designed to deceive the rich inhabitants. A flashback reveals the meticulous planning, including hiring actors to be the fleeing crowds on the streets, producing fake news broadcasts, and staging the fake bombing using the bunker's mobile platform. A famous director was hired to film all the fake footage, and Luca and Cindy are his lead actors. Back in the present, Minerva's girlfriend, Dr. Julia, tends to Guillermo's injuries. While watching more of her sister's videos in the bathroom, Asia hears a strange noise and the lights flicker. She finds a locked stall and pounds on the door until it opens, discovering a staff member named Elena attempting suicide. Asia supports Elena's body while screaming for help. Tio arrives and cuts the cable, and Asia immediately begins CPR until Julia's team arrives and revives the distraught Elena. Eventually, residents are allowed back to their rooms. Julia privately confronts Minerva, arguing that their simulation is mentally torturing the guests, but Minerva is dismissive. Meanwhile, the director applies special effects makeup to make Luca's radiation burns look realistic. In their room, Raphael and Freda argue about her confession. She demands a divorce, but Raphael, who genuinely loves her, begs for another chance. Freda reveals she's been having an affair with her yoga teacher and leaves. A distraught Raphael goes to the dining hall for food, but Tio informs him the kitchen is closed for rationing. Enraged, Raphael begins eating leftovers from the buffet trays. A guard named Jocko tases him to stop him. When Max intervenes, Jocko tries to tase him as well, but Max, hardened by prison, punches Jocko and takes the taser. He overpowers the guard and tells his father to take all the food he wants, but Minerva arrives and surprisingly tells the guards to let them go. The next morning, Guillermo and Mimi argue again. The argument, however, reignites their old passion and they become intimate. Asia, still watching videos on Anne's phone, is flustered when she stumbles upon an intimate video of Max. Suddenly, guards arrive and take Mimi away for a blood test. While waiting outside the infirmary, Max asks for the phone back, but Asia lies, claiming she destroyed the SIM card. Inside, Julia explains to Mimi and other residents that Luca needs a blood transfusion. From another room, they can see Luca's horrifically burned body as Julia performs a fake, dramatic surgery, complete with a staged seizure. The sight spreads more fear among the residents. After another successful deception, Julia suffers a panic attack, telling Minerva she can't continue with the psychological torture. As they argue on a high bridge,
Minerva's brother, Ciro, offers Julia medication. When she slaps it away, he shoves her off the bridge to her death. A flashback reveals Guillermo's history as part of the 1%, whom Minerva despises. Her plan was to trick the rich into the bunker, then use their money after making them disappear. When employees find Julia's body, Ciro and Minerva feign shock. Ciro produces a deep-faked security video showing Julia jumping, convincing the staff it was a suicide.
Minerva announces to the residents that Luca has died from radiation poisoning and Julia from a mental health crisis, placing the bunker on indefinite lockdown with food rationing. She publicly shames Raphael for his earlier food hoarding and scolds Max for his violence. Upset by the news, Mimi mentions she used to look at old photos to calm her nerves. This makes Asia regret lying about the phone. She convinces Tio to take her to the trash compactors, claiming she lost a bracelet. There, she retrieves the phone just before they are nearly crushed. Since Max still has the stolen taser, Minerva sends Jacko to retrieve it. A brutal fight breaks out in the gym. Jacko gains the upper hand with the bat, but Max ultimately knocks him unconscious, leaving him in a coma. With Julia gone, they lack a medical expert. Minerva remembers Asia is a medical student and brings her to the infirmary. Asia successfully administers the correct medicine and Jacko wakes up. Later, Minerva confronts Max, takes the taser back, and uses it on him as a final warning. Meanwhile, Guillermo's right-hand man, Oswaldo, keeps calling his phone, so the Roxanne AI sends a message telling him to stop. In one of the tunnels, a group of multilingual residents, including Victoria, is tasked with trying to contact the outside world via radio. Bored, Victoria fakes hearing a message in French to flirt with another resident. Then, Mimi genuinely hears a message from a civilian plane asking to land, another staff-created trick. The refugees listen in horror as the plane supposedly crashes and people die. Raphael, during a support group session run by the director in disguise, confesses he's developing feelings for the AI, Roxanne. Later, at the pool, Guillermo encourages Raphael to move on from Frida. They invite staff member Ingrid and the recently recovered Elena for drinks. At the same time, Asia tends to Max's injuries from the fight. The closeness makes her uncomfortable, and she runs away. Max follows, demanding an explanation. She unleashes her hatred for him, all while imagining kissing him. In the control room, the team intercepts a desperate message from Oswaldo, who threatens to contact an ambassador if Guillermo doesn't call back. Minerva forces Ciro to create a live virtual replica of Guillermo to handle the call, even though the AI lacks sufficient data. The fake Guillermo speaks to Oswaldo, who explains a major company acquisition that Guillermo has pursued for decades is finally possible. But the CEO will only negotiate in person. Ciro makes the fake Guillermo declare he wants to sell all his companies to help the poor. A baffled Oswaldo mentions that the deal is contingent on BJ3 being included. The team not finding the term online ends the call. As Roxanne searches for the meaning of BJ3, flashbacks reveal Minerva and Ciro's traumatic childhood in an orphanage, which fueled their hatred for the rich and led to the bunker plan, to make Europe's wealthiest disappear and use their digital clones, powered by Roxanne, to control their fortunes. Roxanne finally discovers that BJ3 is one of Anne's prize-winning horses, worth over 40 million euros. When Oswaldo calls back, the fake Guillermo authorizes the sale. However, Oswaldo now needs the documents from Guillermo's home safe, and the team doesn't know the combination. They arrange to call him the next day to open it together. Meanwhile, Max discovers Jacko's earpiece that fell during their fight. He puts it on and overhears his father's spied-upon conversation. The team immediately mutes the feed and sends Cindy to retrieve the earpiece. At the bar, Ingrid is tasked with getting the safe combination from Guillermo. She plies him with alcohol and flirts heavily. Raphael and Elena are also bonding over their failed marriages. Max, worried after hearing his father on the earpiece, interrupts the scene. An annoyed Guillermo leaves and Ingrid follows him to an office to continue drinking. Mimi becomes gravely ill and collapses in the control room after wandering through the bunker. Asia is called, but she's not qualified to make a diagnosis.
Using Mimi's vitals, Roxanne determines she has kidney failure and needs dialysis, which the bunker lacks. While treating Mimi, Victoria gives her a cigarette and one of her strong painkiller patches. The two women get high, but when Mimi's pain returns, Victoria gives her an even stronger dose, leading to them becoming intimate. In the office, Ingrid plays a truth game with Guillermo, asking for his safe combination. He refuses to write it down, but says the number aloud. Just as they are about to kiss, Mimi, having escaped the locked elevator, bursts in and ends her relationship with him. A distraught Guillermo finds Asia watching Anne's videos, snatches the phone, and attacks Max, blaming him for bringing up the past. Frida breaks a vase over Guillermo's head, and as they hug, she and Frida suddenly kiss, revealing a 20-year-long affair. The next day, Oswaldo calls from Guillermo's house. The fake Guillermo guides him, and Oswaldo recognizes the partial safe code as Anne's birthday, filling in the rest himself. He retrieves the documents, and the fake Guillermo instructs him to buy a series of fake but profitable startups created by Minerva and Ciro. Max, having stolen scissors, fails to remove his bracelet. He and Raphael reconcile after Raphael confesses that Guillermo had threatened to kill Max, which is why he testified against him. Meanwhile, Max devises a plan to escape. He and Asia pretend to be a couple to get privacy. In a bathroom stall, communicating with written cards to avoid being overheard, Max reveals he found a hidden emergency exit on a map he stole. He plans to shut down the security system by cutting Roxanne's main cables. Their first attempt to cut the cables briefly shuts down the system during fake Guillermo's call with Oswaldo, but Roxanne reboots just in time to salvage the deal. To manipulate Oswaldo further, the team sends Ingrid to a restaurant where he is. They stage a scene, spike his drink at a club, and keep him partying all night. An exhausted and hungover Oswaldo is then pressured by the fake Guillermo to close the deal, buying the fake company for 900 million euros. Back in the bunker, Asia and Max incapacitate a maintenance worker, steal his uniform and tools, and prepare a bomb as a distraction. They cut the cables again, shutting down Roxanne, and set off the bomb, filling the corridors with smoke. In the chaos, Max opens the emergency staircase. After a final goodbye, he ascends as Asia closes the hatch and reconnects the cables just as Roxanne reboots. But Jacko discovers them and, assuming the worst, holds Asia at gunpoint. At the airport, Oswaldo becomes suspicious after seeing an actress from the restaurant on a billboard. He realizes he's been scammed and has the plane turned back. He calls Guillermo's number, confirming his suspicions when the AI can't answer a personal question. He vows to call the police, but on the street, he is murdered by Ingrid and Luca, who make it look like a truck accident.